welcome to Match Day Live. You are seeing the live footage of our players arriving for our 8 PM fixture against Newcastle United. The title race is hotting up. City have the chance to make it 2 points the gap before Arsenal play their rival Spurs tomorrow. City are still competing on all 4 fronts this season and are looking to extend their record to 5 wins in a row. A sequence which began against today's opponents recently in the Carabao Cup at the start of the month. There's our manager, Pep Guardiola. We'll hear from him later on in the show, and our players arriving. Great to see Savinio back in the match day squad, as well as Tajani Reinders, Nico O'Reilly there too. We will have team news for you very, very shortly, but I can reveal there will be a start today for our number 7, Omar Marmoush. He is in the starting lineup, as is that man, Antoine Semenyo. What a signing he's been for Manchester City so far. There's Kushyanov as well, and Ryan Aït-Nouri ready for the match today. And let's take a look then, shall we, at the official team news for today. In goal, of course, who else? It's Gianluigi Donnarumma. And then it's our 27th, Mateus Nunes. And then, of course, he's back, Ruben Diaz, our number 3. Partnering Ruben Diaz is Mark Gay. What a signing he's been for City so far. And a start for Ryan Aït-Nouri too. Moving on to our midfield, Ballon d'Or winner. He needs no introduction. It's Rodri. And then our captain, number 20, Bernardo Silva. And then a start for Nico O'Reilly, our number 33 as well. And a start, we mentioned it just before, it's Antoine Semenyo in the starting lineup at the Etihad. And Omar Marmoush, our number 7, starting today. And of course, who else leading the line? Number 9, Erling Haaland. Let's head pitch side straight away to hear from Joleon Lescott and Joe Cole.
Yeah, welcome to pitch side, where I'm joined by 2 players who, well, one of them played for City, as you know, in Joleon Lescott, and the other who played a lot against City down the years in Joe Cole. Guys, you're most welcome. I'm going to start with you, Joe, before we get on to our City guest here. Joe, as an observer from the outside, have you been surprised how the gap has narrowed?
Not surprised, because I think the business that was done in January, I know that it started before that, but Mark Guehi and Semenyo have been absolutely, they look like they've been here for 20 years. And it's been a long time since you said that about players rolling into City. There's been a couple which, you know, without being, you know, it's not quite worked out how people would have expected, but you've just got 2 players additions that have bolstered your team 10-15%. So I'm not surprised, and I've always loved watching Manchester City play, but I'm loving it even more now because I think now they're the hunters. I think it's suiting them.
Do you feel that way as well, that they're good in the role of the hunters?
Yeah, I think they would have been good in the role of the hunted as well. I think they've got enough experience and belief within the squad and the club. I know not every player has won the league, but I just feel there's a feeling within the club that we can do our job, and if we do it properly and we do it well, we win the league.
You know about the London area very well indeed. Tell us about the kind of scrutiny that Arsenal are under at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a lot of scrutiny. No, listen, it's one of them, right? I'm from North London, so I'm from Arsenal. A lot of my friends are Arsenal and Spurs, so they're both having a rough time of it at the moment for different reasons. The Arsenal fans, I think, what Joleon said about Manchester City had been a team and a club that has won things and had that experience. Arsenal is the complete opposite. There's a nervousness creeping into the whole of the place, and you're feeling it throughout the club. So Mikel Arteta's got a big job over the next 3-4 weeks of just showing poise and good body language, because if they keep going the way they're going, it's Man City's.
Let's go to tonight's game. I mean, obviously City have had a week off, which is a rarity, and although Newcastle won handsomely, they got back, I believe, about 5 or 6 in the morning after a very long flight. How much of a factor is that?
I don't think it's that much of a factor. Maybe later on in the game it may, the last 15-20 minutes, but they won convincingly, and Joe will be able to tell you, you don't feel tired, you don't feel injuries when you win, and in the Champions League you're never going to feel that. You just would have felt confident. And would we anticipate the City team being tired, or would we give them an excuse if they had travelled and won? No, we just had expected them to use the momentum, and so we've got to anticipate Newcastle doing that. But I think the bigger factor than potential fatigue is Arsenal dropping points. I think that is the motivation Man City need, rather than the potential fatigue that Newcastle have.
let's go to this game particularly tonight. Newcastle, I know they've won the last 3 away from home, but ordinarily in the Premier League, they're 2 different sides. Yeah. What is it about Newcastle and their travels, you feel?
Okay, again, it's the step up to the Champions League. It's taken a lot of mentally and emotionally out of the players in the group. They probably would have liked to have brought in more players. For tonight's game, I think Newcastle are the best team in the league that is happy to drop off and hit you on the break. Outside of outside of maybe Villa, I think do a little bit of that. But I think Newcastle with the speed on the break, Gordon, that will cause them a bit of trouble. But I fully expect Man City to go and just play and it just keep going.
One thing Pep was keen to do was to give the players a few days off. Is that a significant thing for players at this time of the season?
Yeah, it would be. I think in recent seasons there's been a winter break. I don't know how long that is or it has been, but not just physically, mentally as well. Like you said, when you are able to switch off mentally, it's so important. It allows your body to rest. I think when it's just continuous games, you don't feel anything. You just kind of numb to the situation. But the fact that you can go and maybe get some sun, that definitely would help.
Yeah. I put this question to Joe Hart last week, actually, before the Wolves draw. And I said to him, which camp would you rather be in now, the Arsenal camp or the City one? What do you feel?
I prefer to be in the City camp. Because it's positive vibes. You know, Arsenal got to do something now as a group to wrestle back the control and get that vibes going. I think at Man City, you're like Jolien said, you're winning games. You're walking in, you come in here. All right, the weather's not great, but you're looking forward to the game. Do you know what I mean? You're a player. You're like, right, we're at it. We know everyone's playing well. People coming off the bench affecting games as well. So I think I'd much prefer to be in Man City's camp.
Joe said exactly the same thing before the draw. Let me just quickly cast your mind back to that chase of United back in 2012 and that defeat at Arsenal when a lot of people wrote you off at the time. Yeah. Absolutely, Mikel scored. What is it about teams like City that gap doesn't actually hit them as hard as it could others?
Yeah, because again, if you've got a belief within the squad that you can win the games, then why would it affect you? At that time we didn't necessarily have the experience, but we had the experienced players, but as a club we didn't, and now that has kind of laid the foundations for every year, continues to believe in this club can just win games. And when you're going into games favourites, like that is a mental aspect on the opposition, especially now this start of the season where pretty much everyone's playing for something. Their objective is not reached. There's not many teams that want to avoid relegation around 40 points, so there's so many things to play for, and this team is more experienced at playing for their objective and being comfortable in that scenario, so hopefully that bodes well.
Well, I know you guys are on TNT duty, so I'll keep the final question very brief. Right. What do you feel will happen tonight?
I reckon a 2-1 Man City victory in a tight game. Maybe Newcastle going 1-0 up.
Really? Jolien?
I don't see it being that tight as Joe's prediction, but yeah, I see a City win.
Brilliant. Guys, absolute pleasure to talk to you. Thanks a lot for your time. Cheers. They're on TNT duty. Let's go back to the guys on City TV duty. Back to you.
Wow, thank you so much. What a start to the show. And as you can see, I'm not alone in the studio. I'm joined by 2 legends, 2 leaders. What a partnership. Keith Curle and Andy Morrison. How are you both? Keith, how's it going?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Disappointed about the rain. But apart from that, all good.
Andy, feeling good?
Very good, and a good partner to alongside me. He can go and win everything, and I use my pace.
So that's what it would be. I mean, listen, wouldn't argue it. Great to have you both in the studio. Big game, of course. But first things first, I need to speak about Joe Cole. Because I don't know if you noticed, but I mean, City fans who are watching the show, you might have thought the same of me. A hint of Bernardo Silva with his cup. I think he's looking at the studio as well, saying hello to us. Even Jolien's looking at him as if say a bit of a Bernardo Silva vibe about him.
Hey, what a good player he was.
Yeah, fantastic player. Yeah. Great to have him on the Matchday live show. I mean, listen, we've got a massive game, Andy, tonight, 8 p.m. under the lights, Newcastle. I mean, they're 10th in the Premier League, but they are a team that can cause so many problems. Joe Cole said in the interview that he thinks, as a team on the counter, they are one of the best in the league.
I totally agree, yeah. I think when we look at the game in the Cup, the second leg, you know, they had 2 good chances before we scored, and we scored at great times. But they had a threat, especially with Elanga in the second half when he came in, because he's exceptional pace. Anthony Gordon, exceptional pace, you know, so there's a real threat there on the turnover of play. And they'll probably be a bit disappointed that they didn't get at least 2 or 3 goals in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. That second half was completely different to the first half. One man who starts today and had a great first half in particular against Newcastle was Omar Marmoush. Albeit, a little bit of a deflection, shall we say, for the first goal. You won't be happy as a defender, but he adds a lot of energy, doesn't he, to that front line?
Yeah, and he's got a habit of being in the right place at the right time when the balls are coming into the box. Myself and Andy, we've just been talking about Newcastle and the pace that they've got and how you deal with it. And again, we've got two different defenders that, of how we deal with. Andy was probably the one he stopped the attack on the halfway line.
That's right.
But there's a way of doing it. Then the other thing is, like I say, if you get caught 1v1, 2v2 at the back, that's when your defensive nous comes in.
And when you're looking at that front line of Newcastle, we'll reveal their team a little later on in the show. Of course, Anthony Gordon, midweek, he was fantastic for Newcastle, albeit against a lesser opposition. He scored 4 midweek. He'll be full of confidence, and he'll be looking at potentially the counter-attacks in games like this, and he'll be excited for them in some aspects.
Yeah, I think he'll probably be disappointed with his numbers this season, because he looked like he was going to go on to a different level, and that 4 goals, of course his confidence is going to be high, but he does have exceptional pace, and I think in probably Kuzanov, you've probably got one of the players in the league who could match that pace just for a straight race. So if he does, and his movement's very good, and he gets down the side in between centre halves and fullbacks, and he bends runs, and he's going to be very, very dangerous tonight.
Yeah, he is going to be very dangerous. I mean, also one man who got his first City goal last weekend. He's a centre half. We have to give him some love. I'm sure you guys will. You're smiling already. Mark Gay, fantastic start to his career, really assured, and it looks like he's been here for years.
Yeah, I think the lad's a natural defender. If he can bring goals into his game as well, excellent. He's one of the way the game's going now, teams, because they're committing so many people forward to dominate possession of the ball, you have to be comfortable and confident in your defenders that you can defend 1v1, 2v2 at the back. And I think with Mark Gay, he's a defender you think, yeah, I'll back him.
I mean, what a finish as well, eh? I mean, every centre-back takes a goal.
Listen, you look at games, of course, you watch MATCHDAY and you watch games on television, but I didn't appreciate just how good he is. And I'm amazed how easy he's settled in and looks so accomplished, so composed in every game he's played in. Nothing flusters him. He's calm in possession. He doesn't get run. He makes great decisions. He's got that intensity to defend his goal as well. So it's been a breath of fresh air since he came in.
I mean, were you surprised a little bit as well as how good he actually is? I mean, of course, he's an FA Cup winner. He's a leader. He's a Premier League captain. But like Andy said, I think we were the same as fans in the stadium. We were surprised, and now he sort of picks himself at the moment. Yeah,
I think he's a very, very unassuming player. He's not a player that automatically attracts attention, but he's one of those players that does his job. So whoever he's playing against, he will do his job. And if you get 6, 7, 8 players in your team, excellent. Success.
I mean, it'd be great to see one of you two partnered with him as well, because we would have a very, very good time. Andy, listen, I mean, it's been an interesting week. Newcastle, of course, came back from Baku. Pep actually said this fixture time he agrees with, so they can have a little bit more of a rest. I mean, they've not had as much rest as this City side. Do you think that'll play a part tonight?
Well, time will tell. I think there's a little bit of tongue-in-cheek with Pep, because I think he's demanded that we had more recovery times at certain times when we've asked for it and haven't had it. So I think there was a little bit of a sly dig there at saying that, that they've been allowed to have an extra few hours to recover, and that is so important when you've been travelling as far as they have. And it's. I don't think it affects them, because I just think they're such finely tuned athletes, and the sports science is such a level now that every player would be better. They will have done nothing since the game. They'd have just walked through a couple of training sessions, looked at a few patterns, spoke about set plays, but there would have been no intensity over the last couple of days in their training.
Well, I mean, if you want to listen to Pep's quotes in press conferences, they're always on Man City's YouTube channel or the app. He's box office. I mean, speaking of box office, we have to talk about Antoine Semenyo as well. Another player who's made an instant impact. He seems to be really, really enjoying himself. Sometimes it's a bit of a heavy shirt, especially when you join mid-season as an attacking player and there's an expectation for you to get them goals and assists. But what's impressed you the most, Keith?
I think him being in the right place at the right time, and his coolness in front of goal, his strikes and his contacts, excellent. Again, I think if you were writing a script, I don't think he could have wrote a better script for his introduction into a team that's fighting for the top of the team, fighting for the title.
I mean, if you look at his start at Bournemouth to the season was fantastic. His last game, essentially his last kick for Bournemouth against Spurs, he scored a last-minute winner. He came here and he scored. I mean, I wonder if he'll attempt the backflip again. He tried it, and it didn't really go quite well. I mean, who am I to judge? Any chance of a backflip from one of you guys in the studio?
Not a chance.
Absolutely.
We'll leave that to the attacking.
What I like about him is he gets between the goalposts, and he's a wide man who, like, you know, we've seen it over the last few games. More balls going into the box. And Haaland winning balls, Liverpool knocked down that game there, knocked down into the box, and just different ways of scoring goals. And he's somebody that wants to get inside the fullback, inside the post, and gets goals. And his numbers have been terrific. I
mean, he can go inside and outside. So from a defender's perspective, how do you guys sort of stop that when you've got the likes of Erling Haaland and Omar Marmoush today at either side of it?
Play narrow.
Play narrow.
Play narrow. Get people in front of you.
And play deep.
I don't think you'll be seeing a low block from Man City here anyway. Perhaps from other sides as well. I mean, we have to talk about Nico Riley as well. I mean, you two were raving about him off camera. He's been fantastic. He's now moved into midfield, Andy. And you mentioned how much ground he covers as well.
Yeah, we're just watching this now, and he gets in there now, and it's a fabulous finish. But if the keeper was to save that and it was a turnover in play, he'll make a 60-yard dash to get back. I can't emphasise the importance of having legs in your team that can go both ways and make the runs that he does. And I'm absolutely staggered how easy he's made it look over the last season, especially this season, where he's at left back, and it's not your conventional left back. It's a recovering winger almost, who occasionally gets back into a one-on-one situation. Doesn't happen very often, but the way he's effortlessly, and the players that are not in the team, and you know, the manager's going with him, is testament to how much he believes in him. You know, and I think he goes to the World Cup, 100%, because he's so versatile. There's so many ways you can play, and he's full of confidence.
I mean, we're actually sat in the studio with two managers as well, so where would he play if he was in the World Cup? Would you put him at left back, like he featured for England already, or you could see him potentially playing in the midfield too?
I think the game understanding and him being able to learn his trade has been easier at left back as his introduction in, because the whole game's in front of him, and he can pick his times when he can go and join in play. He's a natural midfield player, wants to get forward, can handle the ball, good physical stature. But I think me and Andy talked about it earlier on. His stats of the distance that he covers in a game, exceptional. And again, when he's got a turn of pace, and he's got an eye for goal as well. But again, his education that he's had in the team was standing in good stead.
He's become really important for us on set plays as well.
Yeah.
Because Newcastle have got a set play that it's one I really like. They'll go from all deep areas and they'll hit the middle of your goal with a ball floated, and they got three giants who push you back into the box. And Nico Riley was fantastic in the last game here. He won so many, and that's been a massive improvement in his game this season. Aerially, you know, he was a little bit, you know, he's 6'3", you know, and and he's tall and thin, and he was a little bit out of balance a little bit. But this year he's come on. I hope he's done a lot of work on it. He must have done, because he's aerially now so much stronger, and he actually one of our zones now, which is a really important, him and Haaland, to go and win the ball. You know, so there's so many different facets to his game. It's so impressive.
Yeah, he also scored a scorpion kick once for the under-18s. I think it was. I'm sure City fans have seen that. Now, we've spoken about the City team. Let's head down pitch side, where Ali is joined by another captain, another defender. It's Steve Howie.
Yeah, welcome to pitch side, where I'm joined by my co-commentator this evening, the former City and, of course, Newcastle defender, Steve Howie. On nights like this, are you split on your loyalties, or are you wearing your City hat?
City hat. I mean, I enjoyed my time at both clubs. Absolutely loved it. But yeah, these are always interesting games. I mean, when you look at the form, I suppose, of Newcastle when they come down here, it's not brilliant. But they've had a couple of decent results away from home, even though their kind of season so far away from home has been pretty poor. Yeah, I'm looking forward to an interesting game, though.
What are your thoughts on the City lineup? You had a few moments to digest it.
Strong, very strong. I mean, as I say, we were just having a conversation there, and obviously the managers, Pep's got pretty much everybody to pick from. And that team is a team, and you're thinking, does he think that's his strongest team? He'd probably say not, because obviously with the other lads that's not involved. But yeah, it's definitely a very strong team. I'm pretty sure, I mean, listen, if you're a Newcastle player, when you look at the City team, no matter who it was going to be, you're thinking that's a strong team. And they know they're kind of up against it tonight, so They know that they're going to have a difficult task, but at the same time, they'll hope to cause City problems themselves.
Well, let's give you that Newcastle lineup that are facing City this evening. Nick Pope in goal. Kieran Trippier is the captain. Lewis Hall, Sandro Tonali, Anthony Gordon, who scored 4 in midweek in the Champions League, Malik Chow, Anthony Elanga, Nick Voltemada, Joe Willock, Dan Burn and Jacob Ramsey. And on the bench, they've got 2 goalkeepers. Joe Linton's among the subs, as too is Harvey Barnes and Jacob Murphy. And then they've got a few young players as well. Newcastle may have won 3 away games in a row in 3 different competitions, but in the Premier League away from home, they've not been very good. Have you got a reason as to why?
No, and it's a difficult one as well. I mean, obviously, I'm still up in the northeast, so you hear the manager Eddie Howe's sort of input after that, and I'm not too sure whether he can put a finger on it, because at times they've been excellent this season and at times they haven't. But then again, you know, that's pretty much a lot of the teams in the Premier League. It's so difficult, but you know, he'd be expecting, because of the recent results away from home, he'd be expecting a better performance. I mean, they've gone with pace up front. I think they'll have Voldemar, where obviously they've got him as a striker, but I think he's going to drop deeper. I think Gordon will play up front. You've got Elanga, who's got ridiculous pace, and of course you've got Willock on the other side. So I think they'll try and hopefully cause City some problems with the pace. But in all fairness, I think Man City's going to have a lot of the ball, and it's what they do with the ball.
I don't know if you ever remember when you were a player, but Newcastle have never won here in the Premier League, a ground they first played at in 2003. What is it about certain stadiums? Did you ever feel that you were beaten when you walked out at certain grounds?
No, I mean, the thing is, you're aware of different records, but I think as players, and I certainly thought that, and I'm pretty much trying to give that to the other players, records are there to be broken. You know, there's always going to be a time where that trend will change. So why not today? So of course the Newcastle players will be thinking that, but in all fairness, you come here and when you look at the team, you're thinking, yeah, listen, we can possibly break that trend, but it's going to be a difficult task.
What does your gut feeling tell you about this evening then?
If I'm being brutally honest, I think it's a City win. I think I was just speaking to Andy Morrison there, just having a cup of coffee. He's gone big.
Really?
He has gone big. I've gone for 3-1 for Manchester City, you know, at home. Been buoyed by that result as well on Wednesday with Wolves and Arsenal. You know, the goal, one or 2 points behind Arsenal. Arsenal's got the derby coming up as well. I think this is a huge night for Man City, but I think they'll win. I think Newcastle will give them some problems, but I think Man City will win. I'm going to go for a 3-1.
There we go. Thank you very much indeed. The thoughts there of my co-commentator this evening, Steve Howie. Make sure you download the app, and myself and Steve will guide you through the game from start to finish. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much to both of our commentators. Like he said, make sure you download the app. You'll be able to tune in to live commentary from Steve Howie and, of course, Ali too. We're watching the arrivals of the Newcastle United team. A nice moment there from the Newcastle players signing for the mascots today. I mean, one thing we have to start with is the record Newcastle have at the Etihad. It is remarkable. They haven't won here in 21 games, and they've lost the last 16. From a player's perspective, we're in the studio joined by Andy and Keith, of course. Does that play on your mind, or is it just another day at the office, another different game?
Well, they wouldn't have played in all of those games, but it's certainly a stat that's remarkable. You know, that how difficult this place is to come, especially for this team. I know whether you say, Keith, some makeup in the way they play that, you know, enables us to be able to be that dominant over them. Because they're a good outfit and they've got a very good manager.
Well, yeah, and the pace they've got in the team would say that they're going to counter-attack and they're going to cause teams problems. Again, that stat, will it play heavy on them? No. Will they have mentioned it and been part of their team? So no.
I mean, one thing that we also have to mention as well is Steve Howie, what he was wearing there. He had a shirt on. What did you think? I mean, you guys are dressed fantastically in our Matchday Live studio.
I can honestly say I've never worn a check shirt.
Unless you're chopping trees down.
I can honestly say that I don't know. It might just be my style that I can't see a check shirt.
I thought he pulled it off all right, to be honest. I'm sticking up for him.
That's a great save. I mean, he did actually.
You've got one, haven't you?
We might see Andy in a check shirt soon. He did also say that you'd gone big on the prediction for the score today. I mean, looking at both teams, how they've set up, we've just seen the Newcastle side. You mentioned off camera, there's also a lot of height in that team. I mean, MATCHDAY is a tall player, and of course Dan Burn too.
Yeah, there is, and they've got the real physicality, and they have got an outstanding delivery in Trippier, you know, from all areas. And like I say, they play this deep free kick, and we'll see it today, and it's from the halfway line. Sometimes they get the keeper to do it, and everybody's pushed in, and you're just basically trying to make the opposition miss the ball. You're not trying to win the header. You're just forcing them back, trying to get things dropping in and around. As long as the keeper doesn't come, shots off them in and around the box, and it is very, very dangerous. And set play, you know, corners as well. They're a danger. They've got a long throw as well. So yes, we're gonna maybe, you know, Ruben Diaz coming back in, as Keith just said a minute ago, you know, that bit of physicality and that little bit of aggression that we need in them moments to stand up.
And leadership as well, of course. We've got a little bit of a spine developing. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. Let's focus on Newcastle's attack. Anthony Gordon, we've spoken loads about him. Of course, he's got pace. He scored 4 midweek. We've got some footage to show you here. I mean, what does he offer?
But if he gets the other side of you, you're not going to catch him. I think today's game will be about his positions out of possession of the ball, because I think we're going to have to make him defend, and it's how he does his job defending, and then he can turn defence into attack with his pace.
Yeah, we're watching the penalty he scored, of course, last season. The man who assisted him in the build-up to that penalty is Bruno Guimaraes. He is not available tonight. That is a huge blow for Newcastle, isn't it?
Yeah, there is. There's some remarkable stats around him as well that I heard in the last game here. I think I don't think they've lost the game or something when he's played. There's a remarkable stat. We'll probably get it from the boys. Just how important he is to Newcastle. So that's a massive loss for them. But then Tonali, I thought, in the last 2 games I've watched him, he's right at the top of his game as well. And if we don't get his head down in those midfield areas, and if we're not backing off, he's got the ability to put Alanga and Anthony Gordon in behind with real quality. So we've got to make sure that we suffocate him.
On the topic of Tonali as well, like you said, he's been fantastic in recent games. He also scored a goal at Villa Park in the FA Cup for Newcastle, albeit they played really well that day. To go to Villa Park and to get a win, albeit against 10 men, is difficult. But he's a leader as well, Tonali, isn't he? And he's a very, very aggressive player, and Newcastle will need that element tonight.
Yeah, I think both teams have had a good look at each other, so I don't think there'll be any surprises coming out of any changing room. I think, like Andy touched on it earlier on, I think defending your box today is going to be massively important, and landing on second balls. Set pieces, I think more and more teams now are being less embarrassed about sticking the ball in the box.
I've just been told, by the way, by our amazing studio, as requested from the skipper himself, we've got the stat. I'm just going to ask them to play it again, though, to make sure I don't slip up. But in the last 10 league games that Bruno hasn't played, they've not won. They've drawn 5 and lost 5. So, I mean, firstly, well done to Andy as well. He's always coming with the knowledge.
But he's so important to them,
yeah.
And he's such a good player. And he's what Keith was talking about, the character of players that you need in these games. Like, he's got a little bit of an edge to him, you know. Tonali's the same, and you know, so that's a big loss for them.
Yeah, it is a big loss. Thank you so much to our gallery as well. Amazing. They got that stat really, really quick. They had it ready. I mean, look, we're looking at this fixture. It's under the lights. I mean, Newcastle, of course, we mentioned earlier, have played the game midweek. How important is a quick start for City here to get the crowd on their side, which they will be? The fans are fully aware of what's happened in the last week in the Premier League. But how important is that early start?
I think it's the first goal is important. In the ideal world, you think, like, well, they'll go out 5-6 minutes, score a goal, then get another goal. Do I think it's going to happen like that? No, I don't think it will do. I think it potentially might be a game that comes alive in the second half.
Well, I mean, listen, from a fan's perspective, we'd love a goal early on. I mean, Anthony Gordon as well, we spoke about him a minute ago, 4 goals in the Champions League. We've got this graphic to show you because it's remarkable. Andy, you mentioned he's not been prolific by any stretch of the imagination in the league, but we're looking at him and he's got his name up in the lights with some of the best players in the world.
Yeah. Well, he obviously enjoys the European nights, doesn't he?
I mean, it's just a fantastic stat. 10 goals, 2 assists in 9 games, 24 shots as well. Of course, Erling Haaland is 4th on that list. But wow, I mean, that'll fill him with loads of confidence.
Yeah, definitely. Be interesting to see how many of those games were away from home that you scored the goals in as well. I think the lad's a threat, definitely. And this is somebody that again, I think it's going to be the other side of the game today. How deep we can take him when we've got possession of the ball.
And we've not mentioned as well Elanga on the other side. I mean, when you look at that side, I mean, our fullbacks have got. They've got quite a bit of pace themselves. I mean, Ryan Aït-Nouri and Nunez, of course, they're not slow. They do like to get forward a little bit. Do you think there'll be a slightly more reserve today? Do you think we'll
no, I think
they'll take them as far forward as they can take them.
Exactly, push them back as far away from our goal as possible, and that's just what City do. And we were talking earlier on about that character of them players, you know, Tonali and talking about getting wide. You can't get wide in the City. You can't go and, you know, leave one on them because they're so good at moving the ball. So they are a team that you couldn't say, listen, let's go and rattle these today, because we're so accomplished at keeping the ball and moving it out of certain areas, tight areas, switching play, that it must be monotonous for the opposition to keep having to make them runs. And eventually you're just hoping somebody switches off and you get an opportunity, but it's such a hard team to play against because they don't change how they do things.
Well, it's going to be a fantastic battle. I mean, we've heard from two fantastic guests here in the studio. We're going to head back down pitch side now because we're joined by yet another Manchester City captain, none other than the legend himself, Richard Dunne.
Yeah, welcome back to Pitchside, where I'm joined by a genuine City legend. I think he won Player of the Season almost every year he was at the club, to be honest. It is, of course, Richard Dunne. Richard, and just before we get talking about tonight, we've got Andy Morrison and Steve Howie with us today. What are your recollections of playing with those guys?
Yeah, great memories. I just seeing Steve there as he was passing by, and I've not seen him for a long time, so that was great to see him. But yeah, two centre-halves who I suppose epitomises everything that City's about, you know, heart on the sleeve sort of stuff. So yeah, it's really nice to see them still here.
We talk about partnerships. What was a partnership like with you and Steve?
It was good. We were close off the pitch, you know, so that always helps. And I think Steve was a couple of years older than me and was able to help me and grow me game and stuff like that. So yeah, it was great to play alongside him.
Talking about partnerships, I mean, all of a sudden Pep Guardiola's got an embarrassment of riches at the centre-half position. What do you think are the qualities and differences between the combinations he can play there?
I think I think Diaz is the leader. He seems to be the one, and Mark Gay's obviously been captain of Crystal Palace, so you've got two born leaders there. And John Stones, I think, is one of those players, when he's fit, he makes a good team great. He's just a very, very good player. He helps City build and all that. And any one of them put alongside Kusanov can only help him develop even more. I think he's been brilliant at times this season, but obviously has still room to grow and mature as a centre-back. And yeah, it's one of those where you're in a situation from 2 or 3 months ago not having anyone and looking around to now having four of the best in the country. So it's a great problem for Pep to have.
And nice timing with this slip up from Arsenal as well, isn't it?
Perfect timing, yeah. And I mean, this is the important part of the season. I think City have obviously been through it and done it before, and they seem to be coming into really good form now. Players are coming back fit and raring to go, and if they can win tonight, it just puts a little bit more pressure on Arsenal.
What are your thoughts on the way City are playing at the moment? Do you feel that they are starting to get to that point where they're peaking?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's still sort of, it doesn't seem to be the full 90 minutes at the moment, and there's little gaps in games, but it's slowly coming. And I think the problem's when you're missing so many players throughout the season. Obviously, the fullbacks have been out or settling into their position and all that. And it grows over the course of the season. There's no point being the best after a couple of months. It's about now, and this is the period. And yeah, I mean, the players recently, they look really sharp. They've got loads of competitions, loads of opportunities to win the cup. So yeah, fingers crossed now they're all in form and they keep fit.
Well, look, it's absolutely teeming with rain, so I've just got one very quick question before you can get back in the dry. Do you think that City will have too much for Newcastle this evening?
I do. I think it's been a long week for Newcastle with the travel that they've had. They obviously performed really well in midweek, but I think it's a tough ask for them coming here on the best of weeks, and I think City just smell it now. They've got the opportunity to close the gap, and yeah, I think they'll have too much tonight.
Brilliant. It's really great to see you.
Cheers.
The thoughts there of Dunne, of course, long-time City favourite, and of course I think he won more Player of the Year awards than any other individual player in our recent history. Tells you how popular he was. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you so much. What a legend Richard Dunne was. I mean, Andy, we have to come straight to you. We have to get a word. He had lovely things to say about you there. I mean, what were your memories?
No, I didn't get the opportunity to play too many games with him. You know, this season, I got injured really. That was the end. But he was a phenomenal defender, and you know, we talk about pace and size as well. Like, you know, he's 6'2", 6'3", and was a big unit, but he was rapid as well. You know, he could cover the ground and never pulled out of anything. You know, courageous, could play as well, and comfy in possession. So what a good centre half he was.
I mean, I think it's only right that because we've got so many leaders in the on the Matchday live show today that we speak about our current leadership setup at Manchester City. It is absolutely fantastic. The official leadership group, of course, is Bernardo Silva, who's our club captain right now. Then you've got Ruben Diaz, you have Rodri, and then you have Erling Haaland. We mentioned at the start of the show, Mark Gay was a former Premier League captain. Donnarumma's done a lot for someone his age as well. I mean, how impressive is it to have a spine of players who are so experienced?
Yeah, and I think when you talk about leadership, there's different ways to be a leader. And I think when you have you talk about Bernardo Silva, like, he leads by example, as in he understands when and where we need to be playing, and he's one of those. He's like the fulcrum. He's like the centerpiece. Sometimes he'll come back. He split the two centre back. He'll come back because he knows we need to get that rhythm and tempo, and that's leadership on the pitch in a different format than sometimes grabbing somebody and saying, like, you need to do your job.
What type of leader were you, Keith, would you say?
I was not as vocal as what people may assume with my teammates, but I was a talker because I needed people to be in the right place at the right time so I could do my job. So I demanded verbally. I was never the type of person that would dig people out.
Andy, the other side, what were you like as a leader?
Demanding, I guess. You know, demanding and I think you just try and lead by example, and people follow that. You know, if you're, I mean, Ruben Diaz is not Ruben. He won't call people out. He's just super positive for the next moment. So he wants to put that mistake to bed or whatever. Whereas Rodri will sprint back 30 yards to make a tackle, and then he'll go after the person who gave the ball away, or didn't react quick enough, or didn't run fast enough, or made a poor decision. Rodri will go after them, which I love. Bernardo's different again, but the manager speaks so fondly about Bernardo because he never doesn't turn up. He's always present. He's always there. His attention is always in the game. No matter who you play, you know that he'll be on the pitch and making the game. And the leadership qualities that he has is when he slips in between the back two centre halves and starts playing from the back, especially against Liverpool, where Pep uses him, you know, to go in beyond Rodri to kind of link play in there. He's so courageous, you know, and the courage that he shows in big games is remarkable, and different ways to lead.
And of course, and speaking of different ways to lead as well, Erling Haaland, of course. I mean, yeah. He's a man who just offers so much to the team in general with his goals. I mean, what can you guys see as his leadership qualities on the pitch?
He does his job. I think, and he hasn't bought into a lot of criticisms from probably outside of Man City, where people say, well, is he the complete centre forward? Because all he does is score goals. That's like saying, well, like, you've got a goalkeeper that keeps to like clean sheets. But you say, well, yeah, well, you kept that many clean sheets, but you're not very good at crossing the ball. It's not your job. Erling does his job.
I mean, we can see him in his tracksuit, you know, greeting his #Man City teammates. I have a feeling that's a TikTok that's been showed us something. But he's always full of energy wherever he is.
What really impresses me most about him, and it's from day one, tell me a time you can remember him feigning injury. Tell me a time where you can remember him staying down and letting the centre half know that he's hurt him. I remember 2 or 3 times early on where one against Brighton, and he got took. It was a definite foul, one that he could have got the centre half booked. He jumped up and he sprinted past him and turned round and laughed at him as he ran past him. And I thought, you'll do for me, you know, because he's not one who wants to try and feign fouls or gain an advantage in a dishonest way. He's just an honest lad who wants to be the best version of himself. I can't speak high enough of him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from a defensive perspective, going on off what Andy said, if you're trying to get a hard tackle in, he's not reacting, he's getting up, he's laughing in your face, it sort of goes 360 back towards you, doesn't it? Because it's you who then sort of gets affected by the fact he can't be affected.
Yeah, because again, I think most centre forwards you find a way, and you look at Haaland and think individually, man on man, you're thinking the lad's got everything. pace, power, strength, aggression, ability to score goals from any different variations. And then you think like, well, as a centre back, you wouldn't be able to do it on your own. You need your teammates in narrow as possible.
I've just had word in my ear that we've got an official statement from Steve Howie. So we're just going to our gallery right now, and absolutely nothing wrong with the shirt. Some people are afraid of being different. No, that must be a mistake. He said, let's be honest, it comes from the fashion guru FG. I mean, hang on a minute. I think that's just because of the amount of respect he has for you two. But I mean, what has the host done? By the way, for the record, I thought the shirt was interesting. But yeah, thank you very much. Live statements here on Matchday Live. We need to get him invited up or in the studio soon. Listen, the next person who wears a check shirt on this show, it's going to be talked about. We can see the footage of our players about to head out for the warm-up. It's this moment in the game where you can see the leadership. Ruben Dias, he's always locked in. He's always communicating with his teammates. He's always trying to make people feel good and feel motivated. It's a massive part of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, we're privileged to be able to see this, and the one that I've seen that's really stood out for me is Donnarumma. He was a colossus in that there. You know, he comes across and it's everyone, and there's a. I'm not saying you pay lip service in each game to, you know, to say the right things and all that. Come on, there's something in his eyes that warms me, and he's just a proper man. He's a proper leader. You know, he's a colossus.
He's got presence.
Absolutely.
As an individual on the pitch, off it, the man's got presence, which I think is important. I think, talking about the warm-up, it's vitally important because the manager, the coaching, is one of those. You can do so much, but then you need that group of players to make sure everything is on sync.
Yeah, you'll see as well from our final thoughts segment. I mean, you'll see at Ellen Road next week with Curle that Ruben Dias is always the one who's motivating people. He's always taking the warm super seriously. But the one thing I like as well from a fan's perspective, and I'd love to get your opinions on this as well, is when we went through a period last season where we were losing games, he was the first one to come out to speak, but it was always saying the right things that fans want to hear. And that's vitally important because you see sometimes in the world of football, one word could slip out. It rarely happens, if it ever does, with this group of leaders, in particular Ruben Dias.
Yeah, and again, it's a positive mentality that is born by positive performances. And again, there's an honesty about this football club, this football team. Yeah, so yeah, if things don't go well and they don't get the result, they understand that they need to do the simple things well and maintain doing the simple things.
What was it like, Andy, as a leader, having to speak to people after potentially a difficult result?
I always think when it's gone, it's gone. You know, you try and move on. You can only affect it on the pitch. You know, if there's half an hour left, 10 minutes left, whatever. Like, you know, but once the game's done, you know, put them things to bed.
After the game, it's just about blame, isn't it? When players speak after a game, it's usually blame.
To make yourself feel better.
Yeah.
You know.
So is that from experience? Are you speaking from experience? Is it someone like when you go into the dressing room after a defeat? Is it?
Yeah, definitely. Well, there was one key word that I picked up on probably when I was coaching and managing, is that when a player says thought, that means the next thing that comes out of his mouth is going to be he's going to be deflecting away from him and somebody dropping somebody else under the bus.
So you're not allowed to say.
Well, I thought this was going to happen. I thought that means, well, basically you didn't do your job.
Oh, I like it. Well, I mean, listen, it'd be fascinating to see you guys mic'd up as coaches and managers and leaders as well. I mean, one man who we haven't really spoken about, but it's been fantastic to see him back into the frame, is John Stones. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware, John Stones recently has been involved in the Man City official podcast. Let's take a look at a little preview of what he had to say.
John Stones, our special guest today.
Stones for Manchester City. Terrific challenge from John Stones.
I think last time you were on, you said
my first podcast ever as well.
Second one, this one.
I was going to say, have you not done one since?
The treble season, I believe it was already written for us. And going to the Champions League final, I just knew it was ours for some reason. Going back to the point of me as a kid, fans are going to sing your name. You're going to walk a Champions League trophy through them. I've got, the chills now. I think we're always striving for that feeling of winning again, and that's what keeps you going. He'll be an incredible signing for us for however long he's here. Oh, that is tough. This is difficult.
Wow, you can see the rest of that podcast, the full podcast on City Plus. I mean, John Stones, he said he gets chills. I mean, as a fan, you get chills listening to him speak about his time here at Manchester City. They sing his name every week. That night in Istanbul will be talked about forever. It was a historical moment for the club, of course, but also that performance as a defender. He was everywhere, wasn't he?
He was fantastic, and you know, over the last couple of seasons, you know, suffered with injuries that have, you know, has affected his game time. You know, but when he's fit, and I'm talking about 6, 7, 8, 9 games back to back, and then he's still in the team and fit. There's no better centre half in the Premier League than him. You know, I put him right up there at the very, very top. But you know, being unfortunate, he said something that was so interesting before the Champions League final. And he said that people say it's another game of football, you know, don't worry about the occasion. And John said, no, it's the occasion. This is the Champions League final. He said, that's absolute nonsense. He said, we all know the importance of this game, you know, which I find really refreshing. And just going with the normal nonsense of, it's another game, just play, don't worry about the occasion, you know. He said, no, this is the Champions League final. He said, we might not ever get this chance again, so we have to win it.
Safe to say he took his chance in Istanbul that night. There was moments where he was out on his feet, absolutely gave everything to the cause, like he has done for City. His body, of course, has been through the wars. It's been so unfortunate that we haven't got to see John Stones as much in recent times. But memories of him as a Manchester City player, what will they be from your perspective?
Well, I think first and foremost, he's my missus's favourite current Man City player. And I asked her why, and she says, well, because he's fit. And I said, well, no, he's injured at the minute. He went, no, he's fit. And I was like, oh, right, got you. So no, I think he's grown as an individual, he's grown as a person. I think when he first came into the team, I think you'd probably say that there was, within the game, you'd say that he would give you a chance. The way the introduction of the new player, like, he'd give you a chance. And he's grown and grown, whereas now you're thinking, like, you don't get change from John Stones now.
Yeah, I mean, every City fan runs out of words. I mean, whether you think it's because he's fit or whether he's back fit, it's fantastic to see John Stones. Please tune into that podcast, available on City Plus. You'll see some absolutely amazing quotes from the man himself. Now, we have to move on because it's a very special day today, because it's 30 years, Keith. Happy anniversary to a very special event which happened within your career. Any ideas?
Callum told me earlier on, 30 years before I got assaulted.
Well, I mean, I tell you what, let's roll it back, shall we, and let's take a look at this moment. Andy, we can look at it together. What a battle it was. I mean, wow, that is horrific, isn't it? I mean, that is a shocker.
I must admit, I had given a few digs before that.
It's a naughty one, that.
No, it was a naughty. There was a little bit of argy-bargy in that game. Again, Fassine was one of those players that you're looking at and you think, like, how am I going to deal with him? Because the kid's got ability. But he's one of those you had to get up close and personal with him.
Oh, there's another one.
Oh no! Strangely enough, I got fined £10,000 by the FA for adopting an aggressive attitude, and so did Tino as well. Tino's was upheld and mine got overturned.
I mean, the interesting thing is showing how much the game has moved forward, because there's not a chance he would have got past even the first challenge there. I mean, you're laughing about it now. It was a battle. Andy, did you have any?
Did he get yellow carded for it? Either of them?
I think he got yellow. No, he didn't. No, the first one, the elbow, no, and I think he got yellow carded for the headbutt.
For the headbutt, just the yellow.
I mean, it's definitely changed, because that he wouldn't have lasted a second. I mean, that battle was unbelievable. Andy, have you had any battles like that in your career that we can try and find from the gallery? The gallery can try and find.
No, not to that degree. I mean, because that's assault.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the stuff you can't take. I mean, that as a Latin American mentality, like, who think they can just get away with that. I mean, it's remarkable what we just seen there. And no, never. I've never seen. I actually haven't seen that.
Andy's face, by the way, was a picture during that. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. I'm pretty sure everybody watching at home or on YouTube or whatever will look at the comments, because that was interesting. The game itself was fantastic. It was a great spectacle. There was goals in it.
I think it was a good. He was a free-spirited player. Yeah. He's one of those ones where you're playing against him and you think about how am I going to get you not thinking about football and entertaining. So it was a case of I need to go dark arts. I took an elbow, took a headbutt, but I gave him a few as well.
Oh, you would have given him a few as well, Keith. 100%. It wouldn't have gone out of there undamaged.
And that's why we loved you so much in Sky Blue. 2 goals from Niall Quinn and 1 from Uwe Rosler that day. It was 3-3, and it was the season where Newcastle were going for the league, in a very famous quote by a certain man who also managed here in Manchester, saying he would love it if we beat them. I mean, quotes like that can get taken out of context quite a lot, but I mean, it's quite an iconic one, isn't it, Andy?
I'm just interested, you were asking the question about difficult opponents. That was the most difficult opponent I came up against, Niall Quinn. I remember the first time I played against him, and I used to like to go and bump the striker, like to try and get him under the ball and bump him and move him, and then you could head it left or right to deal with it. And I remember slamming him, he didn't move. He took it down on his chest, and then he half-volleyed it out wide to the winger.
I mean, when that happens as a defender, you must think, it's going to be a long game.
He was huge.
Yeah.
You know, he was 6'4", and he had a back on him like that, so you couldn't out-muscle him, and definitely the most difficult opponent physically.
Great with his feet as well. For a big man, he had a great touch as well.
We've got another statement coming in from Steve Howie. I mean, this VAR is going crazy, and it said, what was that? Can we repeat that in the gallery, please? Tino was told to attack Keith because he is a wrong-un.
And he'll get a reaction.
I mean, interestingly enough, he's listed in GoCom, so I mean, if we want to cut to him, we can definitely have a chat with him. Steve Howie, by the way, is on the official commentary team for today's game. He's having a great time downstairs. Listen, I mean, speaking about having a great time, it's time for a game, and I don't know the answers to this, by the way. We're going to play a game of higher or lower in today's studio. Is it your first appearance on the game show on Matchday Live, Andy?
On higher or lower, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And how do you think you guys are going to do before I tell you what it's higher or lower with?
Very good.
Oh, very good. All right, leader, absolutely.
Is it between a challenge?
Well, you can take each other on, but I think we'll play together.
Okay.
I think we'll say it's a leadership group thing.
I like it.
I'll just host because I don't have much ball knowledge. You can see some absolute icons down below, from left to right. Any guesses what this topic will be? When you see all of them, it ranges from the likes of Nader Manua, Paul Dickoff, David James.
Bookings, sending us off.
Say again, sorry?
Bookings are sending us off.
He's absolutely got it. He's definitely read that, hasn't he?
In the career or just for City?
This is in their career. So we'll start with Nader Manua on the left-hand side.
Gentlemen.
We'll just have a guess at how many yellows he got.
Oh, yellows.
Yellows.
Did you see how he said he was a gentleman? He went, oh, yellows.
Yellows. I was sending us off. Yellows.
Over his career.
Over his career. I don't know the answer to this, by the way.
25.
31. Not far off.
31.
How strong are them glasses? Have you just looked at my iPad? He's got it in one. 31. Wow.
I know Nader.
We've got a brand new fan of Nader Manua in the show. I mean, wow.
I'm a stalker.
Oh, yeah, you can definitely see the future of them glasses. That's fantastic. Right, moving on to Sean Wright-Phillips. Do we think he is higher or lower than 31?
Just yellows.
Just yellows.
Not, was it for verbals? Because I think he'll have a few for dissent. Little Sean, he'll have a few for dissent.
I'm going to go lower, you know.
You're going to go lower. And Keith, are you in agreement? Are you agreeing as a team it's lower?
Yeah.
It's not lower. What? Sean Wright-Phillips got 35. Sean.
I'm near them for tackles, though.
we will do that check as well. It might take a while. Sean Gota. Higher or lower than...
For me, lower.
Yeah, not there.
Yeah, I think it's lower, isn't it? Let's take a look. It's 10.
Yeah.
For Sean Gota, an absolute gentleman. Feed the goat and he will score, but he won't get booked. Yeah. Higher or lower for Jolyon Lescott, I mean?
Definitely higher.
It has to be. Any ideas how many he's had? Do you think he's the highest on the list?
No, I'm looking at Brownie there.
Right. Well, Jolie Lescott so far is on 39 yellow cards. All right. As we move on, I mean, do you know this?
No.
How many yellows you've had?
Higher.
Oh, well, I mean, higher than 39?
I'd say higher.
How many do you reckon, if you were to predict? How many times did you see that yellow card?
47.
47, yeah. And let's add on 20 more, shall we? 67 yellow cards for you, Keith. And how many of them were for Virgil?
I was a ball player.
He was a ball-playing centre-half. OK, and then moving on to the man beside you, Mr. Andy Morrison.
I'll be lower, but I'd say pro rata to games. How many games did you play?
Over 700.
Oh, well, there you go, 67.
That's a good record. I'll take that.
I played short of 300, so I reckon my numbers, statistically, I'll be more, but definitely less than 67.
Let's take a look. Correct. You guys are flying through this. Interesting and dynamic image as well for you both there. Looking good. Right, moving on to Mr. Paul Dickov.
Angry. Mr. Angry. Got to be higher.
Should we have a look first to see what we could see from Paul Dickov in his career? Let's take a look, shall we, at one of his yellow cards. Yeah. He had 2 goes at it, by the way.
Just in case.
Just in case. So, I mean, Andy, you're on 25. I mean, Paul, we absolutely love that man. What a legend in every sense. Yeah, we're going to go higher, do you think, guys?
Yeah, I think
higher. Yeah. Absolutely correct. 89.
Wow. You horrible little man.
He's angry. Angry man.
That is... I mean, look, speaking of Michael Brown, you said you were looking at him on the list, you expect him to be higher. Let's roll a Michael Brown clip, shall we, just to see what Michael Brown was like in his playing days. Here we go. There you are. In a Manchester derby as well.
That's a fantastic challenge.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant tackle.
Have it.
Yeah.
Again, it's a red card, isn't it? Today?
Yeah. I mean, in today's day and age, I think there'd be quite a few red cards in Michael Brown's category. Any guesses on how many yellow cards Michael Brown got in his career?
I'm saying less than Dickie.
Yeah, I think probably around about 72.
I'm going to tell you that he's higher than Paul Dickov, and I'm going to ask you guys to guess again.
He is not in 3 figures, is he, Brownie?
I'm just a presenter. I can't give it away.
Yeah, 104.
104?
Yeah, 101.
Mr. Michael Brown.
140.
140 yellow cards. I can't wait till Kel's with him at Ellen Road at the weekend, because we'll be bringing this one up. 140 yellow cards for Mr. Michael Brown. He wore his heart on his sleeve. One man who's been very vocal in today's show, Mr. Steve Howie. How many do you think he's got?
Well, whatever he's got one more for the shirt.
That's a red.
It's going to yellow today.
Is that 2 yellow cards in the studio for us?
We'll add 2 on, whatever he's got.
OK, so it looks like you've just been sent off by our guest in the studio, Steve. We'll look forward to the statement. He's got 31 yellow cards.
Culture.
33 now, though. Kit Simons is up next. Think he's higher or lower?
Slightly higher, but not by many, I'd have said. Probably around about 45.
45. We're going higher as well, Andy?
Yeah, higher.
Incorrect. 27 for Kit.
Is it? Is that all?
Yeah, which is
They were both culture centre house, weren't they? Yeah. They weren't like Brownie.
And of course, David James as a goalkeeper.
Time wasting.
Yeah. He'd have had
Descent.
Time wasting.
Descent.
Higher or lower, gents?
Lower.
It is lower. Any guesses on how many?
8.
8?
11.
We'll play the
21.
21.
Not bad for a keeper, is it? No.
I mean, that is unbelievable. Michael Brown will be having words. 140 yellows, and there he is, Mr. Steve Howie, live and direct from Matchday Live. He's giving us a wave. I think he's undercover. Hopefully, he's not getting too wet.
His sip's going to be right up there.
Yeah, he's got And there he is with the shirt out as well. Wow, I mean, it's a good job it's not lit up. 'Cause I mean, probably, yeah. Remember, you can hear from Mr. Steve Howitt on commentary very soon. He's fantastic. You're gonna love every moment of that, and you're gonna love every moment of this one, because we're gonna hear now from our manager, Pep Guardiola.
It's 1 month still until that game, so still we have, I don't know, 2, 3, 5, 6 games before 7. We'll see how we arrive, and now I'm thinking in 3 days we have next game in the Premier League. I'm focusing that, so no on the rest. So I learned for the many years, don't think too much further, because in football and sport, I had to see what you have tomorrow. That is the best way, and try to train good and play a good game, win that game. That helps to win the next one. And when arrive Arsenal, we'll see. Well, the Premier League game we lost, so, and I think Carabao Cup was better, but yeah, I would say it's not the best draw. We play FA Cup away in Newcastle, one of the toughest. I admire a lot Eddie Howe and the team, but it's what it is. So we live that situation for many years. The draw is the draw. Sometimes it's a home, sometimes away, sometimes it's Premier League team, sometimes lower division. So now one at a time. It's Premier League. It's a final for us. Try to take 3 points, and after we have time to think about when we arrive in the FA Cup.
Wow, it's great to hear from him, the man himself. I mean, he's always so calm. He never gets ahead of himself, but he is a fantastic speaker, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I mean, yeah, he just says the right things. And we're talking earlier on about, honest players and an honest group. And managers protect players, and rightly so at times. But Pep Guardiola will call you out, and he'll quite happily to go and say that they're not working hard enough, they're not doing enough. I need more from my team. He's done it over the years when it's been needed, and he's so astute at his timing of getting his message across and how he gets it across. I love the way he does it.
That was going to be my next question as well, actually. I mean, from how he gets it across. You say that he says it in the press conferences, or sometimes he'll say something about a player, but it never comes out in a way that it's a full-on attack where we've seen from other managers. He really does get his words right, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely. I think I've seen a few clips of him in the changing room, and in different circumstances, when things are going well and when things are not going well. And sometimes he answers his own questions, which I think sometimes is good, because you don't want a response from the players. And he'll ask a question like, "So, do you think that's good enough? Do you think that's really good enough?" And he's like, "I'm telling you, it's not good enough. It's not what I want." And it was one of those that puts. So you're asking a question, but you don't want to reply from the players. He's going to tell you that it's not good enough.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I mean, let's talk about that game against Liverpool, the psychological impact it could potentially have in the title race. I mean, if you look at social media, you'll see City fans constantly posting this penalty. I was one of them today. On a match day, you want to be reminded of the good moments. The celebrations, the away support, they're absolutely fantastic. They deserve moments like that in a title race, to win at a place that you haven't won, against the odds when the game's getting away from you from a fantastic free kick, Andy. Yeah. How much of an impact can that have for you, but also for the other team involved in the title race?
Absolutely. I mean, it's huge, and again, the significance of the save, just after that, at 2-1 when City took the lead from Donnarumma was just, it's up there with, with the best saves I've seen this season. The importance of that. But the reaction of the players, and then what that does to other... We don't know how other teams think. We don't know how the players react to that. Would they just brushed it? For me, no. That's just like a head in hands for a moment. And then you're very, very quickly, you're like, come on, it's all about us. We've got to look after ourselves. But it has a massive impact, the way City did it. What I enjoyed most about it was the way they scored the 2 goals. Ball into the box, cross in, big number 9, knocked down midfielder arriving. Yeah. Beautiful. What we've known all our career. And then the second goal is a clipped ball in behind with a full-back running in behind, penalty. Different ways to score goals, and that's beginning to just evolve a little bit more and more as weeks are going on.
It could have been a third goal as well. It nearly was, but a fantastic performance at Anfield. I mean, on that topic as well, it's not just the players it affects as well. And now in this day and age, social media is massive. What fans are saying, the players are probably reading. And you can sense amongst the City fans, there's a lot more of a belief since that moment. Whereas before it, perhaps, or even if we'd lost that game, it would have been slightly negative. And in this day and age when we've got younger squads and stuff and they're really tuned into social media, that must make a difference for them too.
Yeah, definitely. But I think I listened to Pep's press conferences, one of his press conferences this week, and he said his focus and his mindset is on this game, like your next game. The one that's going to be vital. And at the end of the season, you can look back and say, yeah, that was a very good game. That was a very good game. But within the changing room, within the football club, within the footballing department, it's this game now. That's the focus, and it's about what you've done previously. Excellent, but replicate it. Go and do it again. We need another performance today.
And how does Pep keep doing it? The determination level, the level of intensity. You see him with
Standards. He's got
with
very high standards.
How can you keep that up for 10 years? Like, it is absolutely
not just
unbelievable.
10 years, it's what he did before as well. And sometimes we all want to think we can manage or we're players or whatever, but there are certain people that do have something unique, and it's much deeper than just football. It's life, and the way he conducts himself and everything he does. He's a born winner, and when I've read his books and I've listened to, and he talks about the elite sports, the very, very best. And again, a little message. I loved it when he talked about Nadal, and he said Nadal, which was a little thing at some of the players. Nadal doesn't win all the trophies he's won and all the majors if they were all pain free. And I loved it. I thought he's so clever. So clever, that little comment there. Like, get players just thinking, is he talking about me? Or that I might have to knuckle down a little bit and play. Very, very clever.
I mean, that's the effect he has. And if you want to tune in, like I said, you can watch his press conferences weekly on the City Plus app and on our YouTube channel. Let's take a look, shall we, at the league table before going into tonight's game against our opponents, Newcastle United. Like we mentioned, the gap before. We mentioned that it was potentially could be down to 2 points with Arsenal to play tomorrow away at Spurs. Looking at this position, you wouldn't have thought maybe a few weeks ago we would be in a position where it's in our own hands with Arsenal still to come to the Etihad.
No, you wouldn't. And it's been a strange season. And what I look at that again was, we talk about 4 in a row, FG, and we talk about doing a treble and all that. The Centurions will never be done again. That will never be. Such is the level now of the teams, and how difficult it is to go away to a Brentford or a Bournemouth or a Fulham now. So that 100 points is just remarkable, because we look how it looks now, and it's been different this year. So many teams, the draws are affecting rather than the defeats. The draws set us back. We had the 3. I think it was Sunderland, was it Chelsea, at home late on, and they're massive in this key period of the season.
I mean, when you talk about it, that Centurion season seems remarkable even more, because we're looking at it 26 games into the season, 27 for some teams, 100 points this group of players in Manchester under this manager achieved. I mean,
phenomenal.
It will never happen again. Are we going to say that?
Yeah, I can't see it happening again. But you're looking at it there and you're thinking, would Arsenal rather be in City's place, chasing, rather than being there to be shot at? Arsenal have been there a long time. City are chasing, and it's one of those they know they've got a team breathing down their neck that have got proven history of finishing the season well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can see behind us that there's a light show going on at the Etihad Stadium. There's a lot of amazing things happening. Speaking of amazing, shall we bring someone else into the frame? A man who's been very, very vocal through the gallery. We can speak to him live and direct. We can't see him though because of the light show. Ali, Steve, how are you, gents?
I'm very good. He is, Steve. I think Steve's in good form. He was chatting away before about having a foot in both camps, but to be truthful, he's only got his blue camp on tonight, haven't you, Steve?
Yes, I'm all tickety-boo. Now, I just want to put a couple of things straight. I mean, obviously, it started off with FG having a little pop, and he was basically wanting the lads to say something. There's a reason why FG always wears just Man City stuff, because I've seen his gear, and it's rascal. That's why he always wears Manchester City stuff. But yeah, plus as well, we didn't tell Tino to attack Keith. I think that would be wrong. We just said be careful of him, because he can be a little bit wily.
So am I right in thinking, from the perspective of the commentary team, which everyone watching on Matchday Live will hear from soon, it's the host's fault that you're wearing a checkered shirt?
Well, in all fairness, sometimes to be different is going to be a talking point, and I've gone a little bit different. Yes, it's a little bit out there. It's not your standard Manchester City tracksuit and T-shirt like you've got on.
You've touched the new.
I must say that the two lads are looking very, very smart, but I've just gone for something different, which I think I look absolutely beautiful.
Is there a way that we can shine like a light, just so people who are tuning in can take a look?
There might be kids watching.
Can take a look at the shirt. It's just a request from our gallery. If anyone's got a phone light,
I'm not too sure whether you can see. I'm opening up my layers.
Let's say, is there a gilet on? He's got.
He's got the gilet. You see, when I thought you were coming over to us, I thought you were going to talk about tactics and analysis. I never knew you were talking about check shirts. I feel like I should have been prepared for that.
Yeah, they've been trying to have a little bit of a pop. To be fair to Andy, he backed me up, and then he kind of said I should have had 2 yellow cards for it.
Yeah, you received 2 yellow cards in the studio. I mean, a word on Michael Brown as well, 140 yellow cards. Does that surprise you, Steve?
No.
I feel like not many people are surprised by it. Was there anyone on that list that you were surprised about in terms of numbers?
Yeah, I was expecting Dickie to get more, because he's just one angry man.
Well, listen, we're gonna come back to you in a moment, because you gents are going to be doing a fantastic job like you always do on comms. We'll head back into the studio for a second. Thank you very much, Steve. I love your shirt, and I think the gilet is amazing too. I will always wear the Manchester City stuff as well. You can get yours at mancity.com/shop. Andy, quick and final words heading into today's game. What do you think the score's going to be?
I think it's going to be a lot of goals. I expect 5 goals in the game, and how that's going to look, whether it's 4-1 or 3-2. But I expect there to be a lot of goals, a lot of opportunities, because you're going to have one team that are going to be sitting slightly off and then exploding, and you have a team that's going to dominate. But I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities tonight. I think both keepers are going to play a huge part.
Keith, the atmosphere is looking great at the Etihad. The lights are off at the moment. The noise is coming through already. How do you see it going?
I think I mentioned it earlier on. I think it's going to be goals in the second half. 2 goals for City, so I'm going for a 2-0 second half goals.
I'll tell you what, if it's 0-0 at half-time, this man is going to be in a great mood. Gents, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much for the pre-match build-up. Let's head over, shall we, to Ali and an absolute legend in Steve Howe.
Thanks, FG. You join me actually with the class of 1976 on the field at the moment. It is 50 years since the Blues last won, or not last one, but when they won the 1976 League Cup final against Newcastle. And the players who played in that team, several of them had just been introduced to the Etihad Stadium crowd, and that was the noise that you were hearing as the players, the modern-day players, were still lining up in the tunnel. The class of 1976 came out. Dennis Chua, Asa Hartford in particular, and Peter Barnes as well, all on the side of the pitch. Tommy Booth I can see as well, waiting to greet the players of modern era as they come out onto the field. And so, with Arsenal dropping points in successive matches, all of a sudden, City have their title destiny in their own control. That said, there are still some 12 games remaining, and in a season as unpredictable as this, there are sure to be a whole host of problems to overcome. Starting tonight with Newcastle United, who arrive here off the back of 3 away wins in a row for the very first time this season. While City had a whole week off, a luxury indeed to prepare for this one, the Geordies were in Baku on Wednesday night, arriving back in the small hours on Thursday morning after a very long flight and having gone through more than 4 time differences. Will that be a factor? We will see in the next 2 hours. Well, Pep Guardiola has had the very welcome sight of players swapping the treatment room for the training pitch and was blessed with a whole range of options as he plotted his strategy tonight. though significantly altered to the side which beat Salford, they are just one different to the last Premier League game against Fulham. Omar Marmoush replaces Phil Foden. The Egyptian has scored 5 goals in 2 matches here against Newcastle, including a brace in the Carabao Cup semi-final 17 days ago. It's a similar story for the visitors, who are also just one different to their lineup, which handsomely overcame Karabakh on Wednesday. Jacob Ramsey replaces Harvey Barnes. Anthony Gordon has been leading the attack and unsurprisingly continues in that role after his 4-goal salvo in midweek. Nick Voltemada has dropped in the hole behind him. But alongside me this evening is the former City and indeed Newcastle defender Steve Howitt. Steve,